Hello traders and investors, this is Bulldozer Investing. Today is January 12th, 2021. It is 4:30 p.m. US Eastern Time. Now I have a few requests that I will go over today, but first we're going to start with VIX and SPY. I have the VIX chart right now. Seems like the VIX is pretty much rejected. We will see some volatility, but I think the market will be on the upside till VIX hits 22. And we'll need to check to see if VIX will bounce from there or not. Okay. For now, I think the markets will be on the upside for the next couple of days. However, expect some midday volatility. Let's look at SPY. As we've expected, SPY is battling the 377.97 area we mentioned yesterday. So it looks like SPY is flagging here, and it looks bullish. So this is an apparent flag, and if you do catch the 370s, low 371s, that will be pretty good. Like around here. Actually, did I misread that? I'm sorry. I meant to say the 375. If it gets down there, that would be a good buy. However, it looks like a decent flag, and I think this flag would have an upside to, I would say, let's take a look, about 392. Everything about for some reason this 392 keeps coming up. I don't know if we're gonna have a major down after that, but it looks like the markets do want to go to 392. Let's just go ahead and do a box here. So that 392 number seems very important for now. So let's take a look if we get there. Okay. Apple, we're going to look at Apple. I did hear some rumors that Apple is working on privacy restrictions on their app store, which will affect Facebook eventually. So even though I was bullish on Facebook with all this privacy issues, I think that it would hurt Facebook. I don't know how their earnings will be. Sometimes they deliver very good earnings, but then it drops anyway. So we'll test to see what will go on from there. But anyhow, so this Apple right now, again, it's trading the range. I did say 127 to 134, so it's sticking in here. It does have it does struggle to break above the 20-day moving average. I think the next bounce will test that, which is 130. So above 130, Apple will look pretty bullish. However, we do have to consider this. Okay. So we might hit these. This looks like a support for now, but we might hit these levels, so don't get scared. I do think that Apple will eventually test all-time highs and then hit 151. I believe that fundamentally, with the big techs, Apple will be the strongest buy fundamentally. I'm not talking about technically. The reason why for that is because I believe the Apple Car, if they do announce, it's gonna help Apple a lot, and also that their business is not gonna go away anytime soon. I mean, Facebook, yeah, I mean, big fashion with all these internet ads and Facebook and Instagram and so forth. But if you look at the business side, I think that the computer business, Apple is going with their own chips, their tablets, their phones. They're just going to keep on selling. I don't think it's going to die away. But Facebook might get out of fashion eventually in 5-10 years unless they change their business perspective. Because at this point, I think people are getting agitated about their privacy, and it might cause some downfall to Facebook. So they might need to change their perspective a little bit. Other than that, I believe that Apple, again, will test 151 in a month or so. Okay. This was a request. Well, actually, before that, let me review TDOC. We've been mentioning TDOC on the lookout. It did break this channel. Now it's flagging. I believe that Kathy was accumulating this stock, and she's absolutely right about it. It's probably flagging here. to the upside is 261. That's what I see with TeleDoc. I think their business, it's gonna keep on increasing, and it'll drive it to 261. The ultimate target would be 318, but that's too far away. So let's see if this can go ahead and test 261. Right now it's consolidating and flagging. Okay, it's probably going to test all-time highs anyway, so which is 253. But it looks bullish to me. This bounce looks bullish to me. Okay, that's TeleDoc. The request was DraftKings. It broke above the 20-day moving average. It broke above the cloud. Now it's gonna have some resistance right here, which seems like a strong resistance, which it already hit. So if you do come back and consolidate right on 5193, which is basically where the cloud top is. Okay, so that's where I'm looking for support. By the way, it couldn't hold today, so there you go. That's where I'm expecting DraftKings to retest and then go up. Okay, from there. If it breaks above 54, then I'll be bullish. If it tends to if it manages to close, but this looks like a very slow moving stock for now. Yeah, the fib, exact where the fib channel is. Actually, I don't even have to draw this right here. So the resistance is sitting right here at 55.83. It needs to break above. Our next target then would be $68. Okay, so this area right here. That would be my next target. Of course, you'll have some consolidations. When I give these targets, guys, it's not going to do it in one day. But that's where the major target is. It's probably going to break above the all-time high and then hit $68, $68.92, so $69. Okay. I don't see any like here we have the buying volume confirmation before the breakout, so it broke out, flagged, and broke above. So here I see some like major sells here. I don't see any volume of buying yet, but again, so the lines that I basically drew, this blue line is basically hidden now, you see, because the cloud and the fib basically meets up all the time. So this cloud top is 50%. I didn't literally know it before I drew the fib line. That's where I thought it would consolidate, but now I'm more confident it'll probably consolidate to 51.79 and then retest this level of 55.83 and then go nearly $69. So that would be DraftKings. IVR was another request. I think these are where all the mortgage REITs, your MITs and other companies are. This looks like a good consolidation for me. I believe it's trying to go and test this level of 358s. Let's call it even number 360. So here would be a good buying point, I would say, on the technicals, and then it'll probably test the 360s, come back a little and break above. Now let's do a fib to see where it could go. Let's do an auto zoom first. Let's do 4 hours just to see the 4-hour chart. Because of this highs, like it's just messing up the chart. Maybe I should do like 6 months. Or do something like this. That would be too short. Let's do something like this. 180 days, and let's do 4 hours. Nope, we're still hitting that. Oh, that drives me crazy. Give me a second, guys. Nope. All right, we'll just have to auto zoom, and then I'll have to manually adjust the chart for this. So if you come to think about it, if you draw the extension on this pattern, oh, sorry. If you draw the extension to something like this, I do see the cloud top. So eventually in the long run, now it might be a good opportunity to accumulate and slowly add this. It could go well up to 552, which is meeting this cloud top resistance. But the major breakout should be above 360s, 357 around there. So once it breaks, this is a slow moving stock, by the way. I don't even know, is this a stock or EFT? I'm not sure. IVR, MIT, all those are, I think, stocks. The issue with this is that these are, if I remember right, they give a lot of dividends. So the dividends on this is huge, and when you have big dividends, I'm not sure if they still pay up. It looks like they did take down a lot of dividends. So before it was like 53 cents, they dropped to 8 cents. So I don't know. Yeah, before it was like 50 cents. So they dropped to 88 cents. It's a dividend stock, and usually these don't move very fast, but seeing the drop from the Corona crash, eventually this might, this might get back. You just have to collect it for a long amount of time. But I just don't like these kinds of stocks. It does have a current support. It just needs to break above 357 to cut it short. It'll probably test the 550s, but I don't know when. So that's going to be a long time. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at the next stock, CLOV. I think this was IPOC before. So now the chart is fixed after the merger. I like this. I do see a major support right around here. I don't know what kind of news they're waiting for. I think Walgreens or something supposedly are buying something from them. I didn't really investigate the company a lot, so I don't know what they do besides the fact that they're healthcare. Only thing I see technically is that the 20-day moving average was a major support for this, and it looks like it's, again, you're going to say you think everything is flagging, but I mean, I do see a flag here. Anything above 15, it's going to rocket up. Okay, you could draw this in many different ways too. I just did a flag, but you can do like something like this. I mean, charting is basically how you see things, right? So you can see a flag, you can see a trading range. So Tesla did something like this. Let me delete this. Tesla did something like this for 3 years. Maybe, I don't know how long, but they basically had a trading range, right? You can trade this range, but when the range breaks upwards, it's gonna go like whatever this size is right here, right? $14 approximately to 17, let's say, right? So that's like $3. So if this breaks out of 17, it could very well go to 20 as soon as it breaks. Okay, so we could do something like I don't know if I could do an extension on this one, but we'll try. I don't know if technically it would be right. Yeah, so $20 would be my target on this. Again, like I don't know what kind of news they're waiting for, but it seems like the range of trading would be 14 to 17. I would trade the range. I'm sorry about that. So we can even delete this. Give me a second. We can even delete this blue line because this fib level is where the range is. So yeah. If I can extend this fib line and just take it here, technically it's going to look bad, but I just made the fib line extend a little towards the left so that we can have this fib line indicate the trading range. So this is a well-defined trading range. If it breaks below the 20, then that's a danger, and the next support would be 1366. And then it could well go down to $11. I don't think it'll go to $11, but I just have to point out the levels. Since this is a spec, like I don't know what was the pre-existent price. I think these are like at least $10 and then it goes up. So I don't know what the deal is with SPACs a lot, so technically I'm not an expert on SPACs, but just looking at this technically, there's a clear range and it could go towards $20, $21 around there. Okay. Baidu, so this was another request. Baidu is technically topping for me what it looks like, 243. I don't know when I drew it. I don't know where the extensions go. So let's do this weekly. Let me look where I drew this. So I drew the fib from basically April of last year, or not even last year. I'm sorry. Is this 2000? So that would be 2019 of April, and let's refresh this. I mean, technically this fib did play out, but because this is like a long-term fib, I'm gonna have to refresh this fib. See, this is a very powerful inverse head and shoulder, and it broke above. So as soon as it broke above, it retested and then just took off, right? I think the deal with Baidu, so I want to speak very carefully because a lot of people are, and by the way, like anything I say is not a trading advice, so I'm just doing like technical analysis and educational purpose only. I would say that the money that probably came out of Alibaba went into Baidu and NIO. That's what I'm thinking. And all of this buy volume on the weekly is huge. When you see this kind of volume, it indicates that next couple months it's probably gonna go ahead and take off, right? But since this is so extended that I can't really say anything. Like it's very difficult for me to say that it'll go, you know. I can say that my buying point would be 165, but I just can't. When it's a Chinese stock and when it's near its all-time highs, like the previous, I'm not sure if the all-time high is right here at 284. I'd say that it would test 284 if it goes there, but I don't like to go on a stock when it's ripping. Some people like that, right? Some people go on a bull run and they catch it and they just ride it. I like to buy the stock around here or around where this clear inverse head and shoulder is and about the breakout, right? That's where you make the most of the money. And when it's about to break out, you see it hit the 61.8, came back down, and then just ripped through. So you want to buy the stock here. You're buying the stock here. The risk and reward analysis here would be that you're looking at the upside of 285, downside of 165. So I don't know if it's worth it. It's not my cup of tea, as I usually like to say. Now, of course, like it flagged here. I'm sorry. It flagged here, right? So if you were to ask me, I would say it's consolidating and it broke the flag. You can buy it. Flagged again. Hit it. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what to say about this stock, and I don't want to talk about more to save time for people. It's your own risk analysis. I would say that I don't know how much far it could go. That's the issue. And looking at the 5-year weekly, yeah, the high would be, at least if this rip continues, I would say 277 area at least. But you see on the weekly, when I talk about the weekly breaking out of a cloud, we talked about it in NNDM, how powerful it is when you have 3 years of, or 2.5 years, something like that, of underneath the cloud, and you finally break above the cloud, and all of the daily moving averages, you're going to see a rip through. Kind of the same thing we talked about NNDM, and NNDM is probably going to make the same moves, but I believe that every stock that is trying to rip through, the company comes out with some type of EV news to break that technical to the upside, and that's what happened with this run. And it all helped with Baidu, that I think they're basically supported by the Chinese government, that, you know, they're on the side of the government, and Alibaba's crash helped them a lot, and then the EV news helped them a lot. So if you look at Baidu, it's been, I mean, the last 5 years, it's nowhere. I mean, I don't like to trade this name. When it goes up, it rips high, but I don't like to trade any Chinese names, even if I don't care what the name is, because you can't trust it. I don't know what to say about this, right? Now, you caught this wave, it's good, but the risk to the upside versus the downside is huge for me. Okay? And once you get to this upside, you can have like a swings up and down. So I don't know. You look at the 5 years chart and you tell me if you want to buy it at this point. Snow. Now, of course, the 5 year chart on the weekly for snow would not be a good measurement. It's testing the cloud. It couldn't break above the 20-day moving average. I would say it's probably going to test the lower of the cloud towards 275, and we'll see what happens. It did. You see this? Let me zoom in a little bit more. I don't even have to draw fibs sometimes, but you see where this cloud top or the bottom of the cloud is? The dark green line is a huge resistance. So it tried to went up there, came back, got rejected on the 20, came back. Now it's getting rejected on the 50 moving day average. And it's a nice hammer, but it's a bearish hammer, I think. So I would only trade this name on a momentum. And as we talked, there's a lot of shorts on this. And as I mentioned before, a lot of institutions owning it, low float of shares. If you want to stick around for that play, that would be fine. But I gave a range, right? I gave a range of 300 versus 400. That $100 range, it's going to be a wavy ride. I believe that, I mean, look here, right? You have the head and shoulder, which was bearish, and it broke the neckline, kind of found a resistance right here. Okay, so right here. I don't know if it's going to go any further down, but what I believe is because of the shorts in the stock, it could bounce violently like how Fubo did today. And let's on the hourly. Let's draw the hourly. Oop. How do I go back? I hate when this happens. So let's draw this back. On the hourly, I do see a descending wedge. I can manage to draw this. Okay. So I do see a descending wedge. If it breaks out, the cloud bottom resistance is 295. If it goes above 295, I think it'll continue the run, but let's see what happens. Okay? Again, it's hard to estimate when there's low float of shares and high percentage of shorts. We can go ahead and take a look at the amount of shorts in the stock to see if anything changed. So 22%, I can't recall, I think it was still 22% last time we checked on a 50 million shares of float and a 96% of institutional owning. I think it's a good play. It's just that some people complain about the valuation of this stock. So let's see what happens. And if you look at this chart right here in this term, I do see, let's draw this up. The way that chart looks, let's see if we can indicate that pattern. So they kind of drew something like this. I don't know if I'm agreeing to that, but it could well play out. Something like this. So it could drop down to 250 and then pick up. I don't know. I think it broke out of this formation. Let's see what happens. If it does come down, I think it'll come down to 273 and then pick up. So that's what we saw on the pattern right here, but we'll see. I mean, again, the high percentage of shorts on the stock will get it moved. Let's look at Fubo, right? I mean, I'm not going to review the chart, but do you see the 40% short float on a 52? Okay. Institutional owning is 77% only, so I like snow squeeze would be even, well, the compromisation of 20% to 40%, I think you can expect a move like a squeeze like this on snow any day. Okay. As far as what Fubo business does and if they're profitable or if they have a future, I didn't investigate. There are other people on Twitter, analysts there that give price targets and their explanation on it. I'm not a researcher, so I'm not going to say anything. Market cap is almost 2 billion, so let's see. I don't know. Even though I look at technicals, I do have to look at fundamentals at the same time. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next stock, which is NIO. NIO, I think, is not finished yet. What do I mean by finish is the run. Okay, so I think it got downgraded and it had like offering or whatever. I'm not sure what it was. Of course, they're going to take an advantage of it. A year down the road, they're only like $1.30. Now they're at 66. They hit $66, almost $67. To be honest with you, if you look at the valuations of these companies, the valuations are so ridiculous. NIO at this point is worth more than GM and Ford, I think, combined together. So you don't want to look at the valuations on these stocks. You can say it's a bubble. I wouldn't disagree with you, but you got to play these swings. Like when we did say that NIO looked bullish as anything when the stock was like right around here, like $50, and it was like a 20% run. So if I were to invest into Ford in 2-3 weeks, what do I get versus NIO? You just have to be careful with these. Like I can't tell. I mean, on my analysis, if you catch the bull signals and if you catch a breakout on the chart, go ahead, ride it. But you also have to be careful with these names. So at this case, I don't see any bearish moves. Maybe. So we were waiting for the 59.4, which is very close. If it gets there, it's probably flagging. I think the next run will be towards 69.89. And again, I don't like to own Chinese names. If you do have trading opportunity, I think they're worth the time. But I'm gonna sound a little patriotic, but I rather own an American company. Trade the names, that's fine. No emotions in trading, buy and sell, that's fine. So I believe the next run will be towards 69.89. The accumulation, it does have a huge gap fill at 56.2, but I'd start accumulating at 59. Worst case scenario if it gets to 55, but the next run will be 69 and then eventually 86. Don't ask me when it will get to 86. It's just what the fib says. I'm not saying it'll get to 56. I'm just saying that it could test 69. BLNK. So BLNK was acting weird today. It's like, why it was acting weird is obvious. So if you look at the daily motions of it, you have to just kind of zoom out of it, right? I did say that we did reach our target. So when we reach our target, usually what happens, right? We reached our target here, we crash down, basically. And it crashed down pretty good. So we did reach here. I would say that our previous resistance of $44, I'd say like anywhere from 44 to 45 would be my target to accumulate this back. This could do a very well cup and handle at this point. Long-term target on this one is 75 for me. If Tesla is not going away, if electric vehicles, forget Tesla. A lot of people talk about Tesla. When I say forget Tesla, I don't mean to diss Tesla. What I mean is that the EV sector is going to keep on rising. I'm a Benz guy, Mercedes-Benz guy. If Mercedes-Benz makes an electric car, I'm sure that it'll be nice. And would I be a buyer? I probably would be. Okay. But would it be an electric vehicle? Yeah. So it doesn't matter. So the advantage of Blink is that it doesn't matter what kind of EV you own, rather it's from General Motors, rather it's from Tesla or Mercedes or i3 BMW, which sells, I think, pretty nicely too. It doesn't matter, right? What matters is that you're going to use Blink. And will electric vehicles increase in production or decrease? The answer is increase. So I think this would be a good investment idea for a long term of accumulation. And I want to also look at the shorts here. So when these kinds of stocks start going down, shorts come into play, and then they get squeezed out. So 24% short still, and 25. If these numbers are up to date, this is awesome. Like, you're looking at another huge squeeze, but I'd probably get in. So if these moving averages increase up eventually towards 42, 43, and this kind of curls up and do something like this, right? This is like a give or take. It looks like a messed up cup and handle. So I'm expecting something like this, like cup and handle, nice flag or something, and then it'll break towards upwards. Okay? But here it's just hitting the target, so it's where we thought it would go, and it just crashed down from there. I'd still think that this is a good squeeze out play, but you just have to be patient. So what a lot of people do is they get in emotionally, they get in. It hit the middle of the pitchfork, it hit the fib line. So what do you expect? It's going to drop back, and it's probably going to get a support right around here, 45 bucks. That's when you start accumulating and look for another short squeeze, which would probably be, I'm not going to lie, around 75. Now, would it take like 3 days, 5 days, 10 days? I don't know. Don't ask me time, because if you worry about time, you're either playing options or you went in too much, or you borrowed money, right? So you want to slowly accumulate and get ready for the next squeeze. So something like this, right? It'll kill your patience, and then it'll ride up. So I'm expecting the same thing, right? Went up, came down, and then went up. So went up, it's going to come down. Eventually, it's going to go like that, okay? So that's NIO. Blink, I'm sorry, that was Blink. So Solo is another electric EV play. I looked at their cars. They look like a go-kart to me, honestly. I don't know. Like, I don't think I would like buy a Solo car. I don't think it meant to be a suburb. Like, if you live in a city or something, that's fine. Typical cloud top resistance, expect it to come back down to 797. Worst case, the cloud bottom is 758. Wait for it to consolidate. I believe that this is a heavily shorted stock as well. Let's confirm that. So what drives the market is that, well, it's not that bad. 12% is still high, but not as bad as, like Blink is being shorted a lot. But this is a huge breakout, guys. Like, if you pay attention to this breakout, which I'll draw. So let's get this to 4 hours and zoom in. Okay. This is a huge breakout. Now, of course, expect some, retracement, profit taking around 778. You can go long. I traded this name around like $1.50, by the way. I would have never thought that it would come to like 13 bucks. If I did, I would have put my entire bank account there. But these names, it's just like a lot of people, and that's another factor, right? A lot of people see that, yeah, I traded the name on this breakout right here, sold it, and I didn't even come back to it. But anyhow, a lot of people ask me, there are a lot of new traders out there, right? So this is the issue. They're bored. They're working from home. They got some cash. They're not going to the movies. They're not doing anything else. So all that entertainment money is sitting in their pocket, and they're bored to death. So they're trading, but they're gambling. They have no clue. So they're buying all these penny stocks, and it's moving up and so forth. But what I'm noticing, I don't know if I mentioned this today. I don't know what kind of source they're getting the information from, but they're playing the same names. So something tells me that somehow this kind of advertisement or pump up on YouTube videos, like, oh, you know, with the dummy silly face they put in like rocket ships, and like the stock is like $1 and they're like $100 with a question mark. I'm like, stupid people. I mean, like, I don't want to say stupid. I just want to say this. Please, please, please don't get fooled around by these clowns, okay? It's a pump and dump scheme right here. And they know, they study people and they know. So invest smartly. Be patient and learn the game. Okay? I'd rather make money slowly but surely. So here, on a daily, I like the MACD, stochastics, and RSI. Everything to me is bullish. It's just that it got clogged up on that cloud. Even if it comes down to as low as 718, that is fine. If it breaks down, then that's not fine. Okay? Just know your support and resistant areas. The first support would come around exactly at $8, I think. So Solo is a name looking for. It could have it when it runs, it runs. Okay? When it runs with a squeeze. So previously something like this, right? It might flag, so we might see a flag and then run. Let's do a fib on this. Yeah, it probably hit, and I didn't draw it like to the point, but yeah, I'm seeing that it, you know, tried the 161, came back. So it could come down to as far as, you know, the bottom of the cloud, 100%, and then go up further. Okay. So that's Solo. Uber. I am proud of myself. I like to pat myself on the back for this one. Apparently one of my friends told me, and he's like, yeah, if he feels bad about it, because I told him, this is my close friend, so he called me up and I told him, you know, catch Uber. It was like 87 cents an option. I said, look for January 15, $60 call. No, 55 calls. I think it was 55 calls, yeah. And his 87-cent option went up to like $4 something. He bought like 5 or 10 of them. He said he bought 10 of them for less than $1,000, right? $870. He sold them too early. He sold them at 100%. I mean, I don't blame him. Options are very dangerous, risky, and volatile. But what a move. We predicted the 56.1 to the cent. And we predicted the 52.63 to the cent, got supported, and we're saying that it'll get to 60.63. And we're only $1, less than $1, or $1.20 or something away from there. And it will get there. The earnings, though, what I'm expecting is once it get there, it'll just bounce, you know, slowly die, and then increase. And then it'll probably shoot up, okay? So 67, well after earnings, I'd say it goes. Uber has a good business. This coronavirus thing, it did interrupt them, of course, but I like their management, as I've mentioned many times. I think their CEO is very smart, and I do think that this has a run. Okay? If you ask me, if I look at NIOs, if I look at, you know, Teslas of today's world, plugs, this should be $100 stock, honestly. So Uber, I'm still bullish on it till it hits 60.63, and then I'm expecting a consolidation. Corsair was another one we were spot on. And it broke above the 61.8 of fib. And when I say 61.8 or 50, don't think of the price, guys. It's usually the fib. Very nice support off of the 20-day moving average. Nice flag, broke out. I think this is running to $45, guys. Eventually 52 is my target, and we'll reevaluate after that. Okay, but this is running towards 45 and 52. Let's just draw. Okay. So this line could also act as a resistance, but we'll see what happens. This is a very determined double bottom. Okay. If you look at it here, I think it's going to go to a big W, flag, and then run higher. Okay. So we'll see what happens. I'm still bullish on this name. It would be totally normal if it does come back to 39.6. Okay. I want to also check short percentage and float of shares on this one. Wow, huge short. Whoa. Yeah, this explains a lot. This will get squeezed out. 17.9 million of float, 91 institutional ownership, and 24%. 24.3% short. This is gonna fly. If I didn't have Palantir, this would be the name that I would own. Honestly. Because I kind of went back and forth between the two and I picked Palantir. Pretty much they're doing the same move, honestly, but this will probably, because the amount of float of shares Palantir has is so much, this baby is gonna fly. All right, so Zoom. I tweeted this a couple of days ago that the accumulation target just hit slightly and it bounced, and I wasn't surprised because that's the 50 fib line. Now, if you ask me about this stock, fundamentally, if things start opening up, I don't know how much of Zoom people are going to use. Will they still be profitable? Will their business increase over time? Those are things to be asked to the analysts, right? For us, technically on the 4-hour, I wouldn't get too excited because it just hit the cloud bottom. Might come back down to 50 fib line of 332. I don't know what they're offering. I think they had a secondary offering. We don't know what the price will be on that, right? So we'll see. It did close this gap, so that's totally normal. And I am not owning this name yet. I'm just watching it carefully. It is on a daily. It did form a bearish cloud. So most of all, it'll probably go to 409 from here, but I'm just watching it. Okay. If it does come down to 61.8, I might start nibbling a bit and play this 530 price target. So finally, over some time, we're at Palantir. Now, having said that I own this name, I might have some bias side, but I'm going to try to be as objective as I can. First time in a couple weeks, we broke out of the 20-day moving average and closed above with a hammer. Now, what I'm going to do is, a lot of people had asked me about, can you clear your drawings and draw from scratch? We want to learn. I just want to say this. I'm not an expert. I didn't work at Wall Street. I didn't have an econ major. So I'm not an expert chartist. I just have experience from trading around for the last 10, 12 years. Okay? So things that you'll probably learn from me, I self-taught myself. I read, I educated myself, and this is how much as how far I've learned. But I'm going to go ahead and do this on Palantir with you guys. So let's delete everything. Okay? Let's do an auto zoom. We did. So this is the daily chart on Palantir. Nothing else. Only thing I have here is Ichimoku Cloud and simple moving averages of 20-day and 50-day. I also have 100-day, but since it hasn't been 100 days for this stock. I don't know if it has been, but maybe it is, but the average is not there yet, so it's not showing. So a couple things I do in Thinkorswim. You can simply go to studies and do an edit study, and you can type Ichimoku and select it. And I think I did some customization on this. I deleted, so here, Tankan, I'm not going to explain what they are. You can, there's like an hour-long video on how to use Ichimoku Cloud on YouTube, so they did a good job explaining it. So I took this out. I took the Kijun out. Span A is there, Span B is there, Chiku I took out. So span A and B is basically the green line at the bottom of the cloud, and if it's red, it'll be a red. So those are it, right? And simply I did the SMA, I should have shown it. So simple moving average of 20, 50, and 10. You can do 34, some people do 8. So there's different things, right? For my trading range, I think these are decent, not doing 200. So then the Ichimoku. I have the MACD, Stochastics, and RSI Classic 3 at the bottom. Okay. So now everything that we haven't, this is all by computer, right? Ichimoku we don't draw, this moving averages and the internals, right? Now what we're coming down to is recognizing patterns. Okay. Now a lot of people have a hard time recognizing patterns, and it comes with experience. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this and push this off. So if we didn't know, if we were here, that's why I was so bullish on this. If we didn't know the future of this, what I would have drawn is a simple triangle, right? It's a wedge, and it's about to break out. Okay, so that's what we can draw on this, and then on top of it, we can draw an extension or a retracement. It doesn't matter. So we'll take this flat bottom here, go at the top, and then go at the bottom. Okay. Now my extension will probably has a default of only showing 50, 61.8, 100, and 161.8. That's fine. Okay. Yours might come out with more lines. Now let's take a look at what happened. It didn't. It looked like it broke out, but came back down. So the technicals didn't play out. And in fact, it went bearish after it broke down the 20-day moving average. Okay. So let's do something like this now. If that didn't break, we're going to have two trend lines. Okay. We're going to have this. Now we're going to have to readjust this line. Now we're going to have to look at something like this. Okay. So if you look at the previous upper trend line, it already broke out and it is above the 20-day. It looks bullish, right? But we could well define another trend line and go like this. So touching all the three. So 1, 2, 3. Some people would like what some people would do is only touch the very top of it. That's also fine, but I like to connect. I like to be, I like to touch all three of them just in case. So that would be another trending line, right? It's touching all points. Let's connect the dots here. That was a scary one, the 2250 one. I thought that like we were about to go down to test $18, but we picked up, thank God. So we are at a very critical point now. Looking at the technical, we're at a very critical point of breaking out of this triangle, pennant, you might want to call it. And we're above the 20-day. We kind of tried it today, but we closed under it. This is squeezing out. What I believe it's going to do is it's going to form a very nice cup and handle right here. So we're going to try the $29 range again. We're probably going to come back and do a cup and handle and retest the 32.91 and then 35.74. Now that that's clear how I tried to chart things out. Might be wrong on various points. That's fine. The thing we're trying to do is people wanted to know how I draw things. So that's how I draw it, right? This is simple things to play out. Now, some people, what they want to do is they sometimes use Andrew's pitchfork, and sometimes on some of the charts, it is just named pitchfork. Now, before I used to draw this, but this didn't play out, so I like to extend it. I don't know how technically it would be correct, but it does play out in this sense. And usually what happens is that, and how you want to do this is you could do it a couple of ways, right? If you want to check to see if your pitchwork is correct or not, if this middle line is a support or resistance, it's pretty much looking good. Okay? So from here on, it looks good, but here it couldn't test. So let's take a look if this is going to work out. Like we can extend it a little more to see how defined it will look. I think we can do something like this. Okay, so resistance, resistance, support, resistance, resistance, support, support, then resistance, and then it went off. Okay, so that looks good. I know my chart is not, it's not on auto zoom. I kind of zoomed in and probably broke out the way it should look like. But let's go ahead and extend. So I'm taking the lowest point of the pitchfork to the highest, and then, and there are a lot of people actually can do this better than I do. I just, you know, this is another thing to use for timing things. So over here, according to the pitchfork, by the time February 11th, maybe when is the earning? I think this earnings date is messed up. I think we're on February something. I think we might be, this might be what the pitchfork is predicting, is that it could very well play out this $44.89 to $45 area around where the earnings are. Okay, and then maybe after earnings, the lockup and everything, we might test this channel again, the 37.35 area. I was just thinking, like, my target is 40, but according to here, if we do get to 47, I'd probably sell and buy back around 35 and eventually play this out till the 60s. But we'll see. Again, maybe there's other investments or stocks or trading, swing trading. So it really depends. Like I went long with this one, but did I miss a lot of swings? Yeah. I would have went into Fubo. I would have went into Corsair. I would have went into Plug. I would have went into other different things that, you know, I missed out. That's fine, because I probably make, see, when I do those swing trades, I go with like little less money, but I went with my entire account here. Not my entire account as in my entire account, but on the trading journey account, where I, you know, opened the account for this YouTube channel. I went all in that account. So if it does happen to hit 44, we'll make a lot of big money on that account as a percentage wise. Not big money as millions of dollars, but for what it would. So the account originally started with 10,000. I added 4,500 more to average down the Palantir. So we are at about 35% profit from $14,000. So about 5,000 something percent, 5,000, I think like $5,200 profit right now on the 3 months of journey. But if it does happen, if we do get to 44, the account will grow tremendously. So we'll see what happens. Okay. So that's it. From my point of view, we covered everything that was requested and some things that I wanted to show. And good luck trading, and we'll see you tomorrow. Everything that was mentioned on the video was only for educational purposes. Please do your own due diligence and risk analysis before investing. Please don't forget to subscribe and give us a like.